All right. This next thing is kind of harkening back to the last episode we just did prior to this, episode 307, where we were talking about how Los Angeles is facing a $1 billion deficit. It started off as $300 million, which was bad enough, and now it's ballooned to $1 billion. And we talked about how extensive that is, why it is, what they're paying out. Their bare bones budget, which is 12.8 as opposed to $13 billion, which I won't get into that, why I think you might be crazy if you think that's bare bones. That's not close to bare bones. And we kind of ended the show, but like, well, they got to figure it out. They got to start cutting. They got to start figuring out how to save money. The parking tickets, which you brought up about them trying to collect on parking tickets, which they actually ended up spending more money. Only the government could figure out how to spend more money than trying to collect money that's owed to them. But Karen Bass has a solution, and it's a solution that, you know, most Democrats, when they run out of ideas, or statists or leftists, I'm going to lump them all together, when they can't raise taxes, what do? They go and they beg for a bailout. So Karen Bass was spotted in Sacramento. Our favorite reporter, Ashley Zavala, caught up with her in the Capitol and said, what are you doing here, and are you asking for help? So we'll take a look at it.
State right now is dealing with a really uncertain budget situation in terms of its Medicaid funds, in terms of what federal funding looks like in the future. Tax returns in your district are delayed until October. So lawmakers are going to have to formulate a budget plan that they don't really even know how much money they're working with. So just what's your message to California taxpayers and other parts of the state who sort of see these challenges ahead for the state while you yourself have your challenges?
Right. And we are fortunate to have the state legislature and governor that we do. And we are concerned because we don't know what awaits us from Washington, D.C. But the state will have a better sense of the finances after April 15th when taxes are due. The May revise when the budget is updated based on the tax returns will give us a better idea. But that's why we're here now, because the subcommittees in the Assembly and in the Senate that decide the budget that the governor put forward are meeting right now. So we want to make sure that LA City is included in that. We've been working lockstep with the county. The county was here last week, so we wanted to make sure that our voices were heard as well, which is why we're here.
So basically, she is begging for money from Sacramento. The number I heard she's asking for is around $2 billion, which is more than the deficit that she currently has with her budget. Obviously, some of that probably has to go with the wildfires. I think it's interesting how she said, we're fortunate enough that we have the governor and the legislature we do, meaning we have a supermajority, and who's going to tell us no, because we run the entire state, and who's going to push back on this? I'm just going to show up and ask for whatever I want. And
money, please!
Hopefully get it, because we're all Democrats, and we're all on the same team here.
Well, yeah, you said, and it was on the screen there, that she's asking for approximately $1.9 billion. So, okay, rounding $2 billion. And we know that the deficit is just under $1 billion. And so I'm wondering if there's more coming down that we haven't heard about, that this deficit is maybe way bigger than what's even known yet. And yes, okay, there is the wildfire situation. I get that. But yeah, I'm wondering if like slowly but surely things are going to come out that their deficit is actually closer to 2 billion. And
yeah,
only time will tell with that. But that is curious to me that she's asking for double the number, because as I discussed last week or a few days ago, whatever, I can't even comprehend the number 1 billion.
Well, math is hard.
Yeah.
That number I just don't understand it. And so when you double 1 billion to 2 billion, I'm like, this is not 1 million to 2 million. This is, again, billions. So that just escapes me. And so I don't understand how anyone and she's standing there just being like, luckily we have, the governor and the legislator that we do. She should freaking have her tail between her legs and her head down in shame. Like, there should be some serious remorse and shame and embarrassment that she's even asking for any money at all, but billions.
So we had discussed on the previous episode about this $1 billion deficit was due to the budget that they had voted in for 2024 and 2025. So this budget was voted in prior to the wildfires.
True.
So this $1 billion deficit has quite literally nothing to do with the wildfires. This is incompetence. This is not, oh, the wildfires set us back and that's why we're $1 billion, short on our budget. It's no, you passed this budget, tax revenues didn't match up, and now you're $1 billion in the red. And I think we even talked about how they knew like this was going to be an issue, this budget that they passed prior to the wildfires. So a lot of repairs and stuff we're seeing, damage control or damage cleanup, has a lot to do with the federal government. FEMA's there, they're on the ground, so they're spending federal money. And the EPA is there as well, also federal money. So there's a lot of federal money pouring into rebuilding or getting LA back on its feet. So asking for $2 billion, and you make an excellent point. Why is she asking for $2 billion? What's the extra billion for? If your budget deficit's only $1 billion, where's the other billion? I mean, we're just throwing out numbers. Yeah, we're just throwing out numbers now. Yeah, you know what? Don't worry. It's $1 billion, it's $2 billion. Who cares? Whatever. We got the money.
Sorry, Dan. I bought a country. We're $1 billion in debt now.
It's like, California's not doing so hot either when it comes to the budget, because now they got to dish out money for the wildfires. Tax revenues are down for them as well. There's a lot of things going on for California that they're not exactly, now they're borrowing money to pay for Medi-Cal, just for the bills for this month, to cover everybody under Medi-Cal, and that includes all undocumented citizens here in California. So there's a lot of money going out of the treasury in the state, and just sauntering up to Sacramento and going, oh, can you give us $2 billion is like, it's just outrageous. It's okay, you got caught with a budget deficit. You have no other solution to figure it out, but please just bail us out. And like she said, I don't know what's coming out of DC. I can tell you right now, nothing's coming out of DC. DC's not going to bail out Los Angeles. So, yeah. Any other thoughts?
Have they tried switching to Geico to save 50% or more?
I don't know. They probably should. Well, Geico left the state because of the insurance rates. They couldn't.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't mean to sound condescending to anybody listening, but just in case anybody doesn't know, the budget, how it works, it's not like January 1st to December 31st. So as we talk about this budget that was passed, it resets July 1st. So this current budget is 24 to 25 until June 30th of 2025, and then July 1st. So that's why now they're working on the 2025 to 2026 budget, and they are already, this huge deficit for the 24 to 25. So just wanted to clarify that in case anyone didn't know that. Again, I don't mean to sound condescending. I just wanted that to all add up.
No, that's an excellent point. And they knew that this was going to be a problem back then, and long before the wildfires came along, and there's still $1 billion in the red. So. Right.
So they're like trying to figure out how to cover this budget, which is now 3 months away from starting the next budget, and there's no money.
But another thought that just came into my mind is, if she's running to Sacramento asking for $2 billion, what's stopping like Daniel Lurie from showing up in Sacramento going, hey?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then we're bailing out every city in California because they're all in the red. Like then Todd Gloria shows up and he's asking for $1 billion, because why not? If we're handing out money, just keep handing it out. Mayors will be lining up if that's the case. They can
absolutely,
go
and I don't blame them. Like, well, hey, we want our share. Hey, we got problems here too.
They're like, I didn't know this was an option. I thought we had to like make hard choices and like balance our budget and like cut services and stuff like that. I thought we had to actually like do work. I didn't know we could just walk to Sacramento and like, I don't know, like get bailed out.
You can do that?
Sure. I just want to add, and I keep saying this, I like probably almost every podcast I say this, but if one city, we have 58 counties. I don't know how many cities, 400 something cities in the state of California. If one city is asking for $2 billion and they're facing, 750 possible layoffs. Maybe I just made that number up, or maybe I read it elsewhere. I don't know. They're trying to they want to avoid layoffs, of course, but they're looking at having to do a bunch of layoffs. They're asking for $2 billion. This should tell you our government is too big. Our government can't even handle itself. And so I'm for the layoffs, not because I want people to lose their jobs, but government is too freaking big. And $2 billion is way too much money. One city, it's just got to stop. This has got to end. This is crazy. This is madness.
No, you know me, I completely agree. If you're $1 billion in the red and you need to make some harsh decisions and figure this out, get to cutting, because obviously whatever you've proposed and all the promises you've made, you can't keep up with. So slash and burn. Time to start slashing and burning.